House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy's 8.5-hour marathon overnight floor speech was not aimed at stopping the social spending bill from passing, since he didn't have the votes. It was clearly all about cementing his support from far-right conservatives and the man in Mar-a-Lago as he looks toward trying to retake the House and win the Speaker's gavel for himself. Joining me now, former Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Steele, USA Today Washington Bureau Chief Susan Page, and Washington Post senior Washington correspondent Phil Rucker. Welcome all. Phil, of course, is co-author of I Alone Can Fix It, a great read. And Phil and Michael, Susan, let's all talk about what happened with Kevin McCarthy overnight. Let's play a little bit of this. I don't know if you would call it Churchillian, but anyway, it was a speech.
I want to go back to when we were respected around the world. I want to go back to when we didn't have North Korea testing nuclear weapons. I want to go back to when China wasn't flying over Taiwan every day. You know, this day, there's only one black American elected to Congress and to the Senate, Tim Scott. Madam Speaker, I know your body knows how to impeach. You've done it twice. In my district, there's 2 families that grow 50% of all the carrots in the country. You ever eaten one of these baby carrots? I'll lead you in a little secret. There's no such thing. They're just big carrots. They chop them, they charge you more, and you buy them.
We've seriously got a shortage of baby carrots. Michael Steele.
Yeah,
that's what's wrong with America.
Yeah. I had no idea what that was all about. The gesticulation of Kevin McCarthy. Look, this was, you nailed it, Andrea. This is all about, hey, I want to be Speaker, guys, and I'll go out here and I'll perform for you and build up your confidence in me as a future leader of not just the party, but this House. And I just think it falls flat, because at the end of the day, a Speaker's got to put a bill on the floor. Speaker's got to be able to tell the country and the party what it stands for. You watched Nancy Pelosi navigate what everyone in Washington and, dare say, around the country thought would be an impossible trek to get her caucus to do something that was, arguably for some against their interest. You don't have that kind of leadership coming from McCarthy. Where is that, where he presses them to do that thing that is outside of the interest of Donald Trump? So, it was a good 8 hours for him. But here's the bet. You really think that a year from now or 16, 18 months from now, Donald Trump in January of 2023, if they have the House, is going to give him the nod? That's not a guarantee. And this show last night doesn't add to that.
And Phil McCarthy, that display from McCarthy came after a phone call from the golf course in Florida from the former president, who still obviously looms large over any decisions made on leadership of the Republican Party.
That's exactly right, Andrea, because former President Trump is the leader of the Republican Party today, and probably will be a year from now when the question of the next speaker comes into play. McCarthy yesterday bragged about getting that phone call from Trump at his news conference before taking the floor for that lengthy speech. And it was a performance that seems to play directly into what Trump likes to see. He likes these theatrical plays, these shtick. He also has a great reverence for people who display stamina, like literal physical stamina, to be able to stand up there through the middle of the night giving a speech. That's the kind of thing that Trump will be pleased to see.
And Susan Page, we also saw Donald Trump doing something that's not surprising, endorsing a controversial Republican, this time Paul Gosar, recently penalized, of course, for what he had done. And Kevin McCarthy saying that he would promote Gosar and Marjorie Taylor Greene if they win back the House, give them more power.
That's right. And this is just a day after the House censured Congressman Gosar for posting an animation that showed an attack, an assassination on a fellow member of Congress. So quite a defiant move. I mean, Gosar doesn't, in fact, seem to have any competition for re-election, no effective competition for re-election in a seat. He doesn't need this endorsement. So definitely a message from President Trump about where he stands, and a warning about what Republicans may well do if they win back the House. next year in the midterms, which is to take action against Democrats like Ilhan Omar and Maxine Waters to remove them from committee assignments, for instance, the kind of thing that they have bristled at when the Democrats have done that against Republicans who have done things like this video.
Phil, how much power do the Gosars and the Marjorie Taylor Greens have within the Republican caucus?
A great deal of power, Andrea, and that's because they speak for an impassioned minority of voters in this country. But it's a selection of the Republican Party base that can influence primary elections. And so when you look at the House Republican Conference, there is real fear among more mainstream Republicans in that conference from crossing Gosar and from crossing Marjorie Taylor Greene and running the risk that they become the next Liz Cheney, somebody who's almost a martyr of sorts, who's been cast out by the Republican Party because she broke with President Trump. And so, I think increasingly you're going to see Republicans feel pressure to stand with people like Gosar and like Marjorie Taylor Greene because they speak for that really impassioned and important minority bloc within the Republican electorate.
Michael Steele, but outside of Republican primaries, when you get to general elections, what about the suburban moms and others who are independents or moderate Republicans? Don't they have a say?
They do have a say, and it's an important say. I would also encourage those very same voters who typically do not participate in primaries to do so. Look, you can have a greater say in the nominee of the party for whatever office it happens to be, and so it's a two-step process. You have the opportunity to put in place a representative who represents your best interest, or you don't. And if you don't take advantage of that, you'll get Marjorie Taylor Greenes every day. Question is, can they win a general? Likely not in some pretty tough districts around the country.
That's a great way to end the week with Michael Steele, Susan Page, Phil Rucker. Thanks to all of you.